We have taught you today how you can make protein. So what would you like? Would you like lamb, or would you like beef, or would you like veal, or would you like sardine?
Beginning of the third Knowledge Seekers Workshop from the Spaceship Institute, and we have online Mr. Mehran Keshe and several members, several knowledge seekers of the Spaceship Institute. So let's connect with them now and see what's happening in Italy at the Spaceship Institute.
Yeah, Marko speaking. Hello to all. Good morning. Good day, or wherever you are, all over the world. We are a little bit late today because we are already in the lab. We were observing our experiment that we were busy in last week or in last 2 weeks. Actually, we were doing an experiment how to capture CO2 in GANS state, and we done 2 or 3 experiments with this capturing. Some of them we made with knowledge seekers, and today in the morning also Mr. Keshe showed us his experiment, and there are some interesting results with capturing of CO2 and other materials. These materials will be used also for Fukushima cleanup testings, and in the end of the week, our Japanese knowledge seeker Yukaka will take these materials to Japan to do the testings. Actually, there are many scientific research all over the world that are confirming that nanomaterials absorb radioactive materials, and we will try to show that nanomaterials can be produced in easy way, also without any sophisticated equipment. And during the workshop, we will try to upload some videos of our experiments. Links to these videos will be posted by Marek on the. Oh, they are already on YouTube. You will see it in the chat, and if it's possible, I would like to ask if somehow you can also publish this in Livestream chat or also in GoToMeeting chat in all available communication channels. So this week was quite a lot of things were happening this week, especially with publishing of all the data that was on USB stick that was given to different world governments. Actually, the Taiwanese scientists, they have decided to publish all the content of the USB stick, and these data are now available to all the people around the world. There are different servers that provide this data. There are some problems because many people would like to download this, and sometimes servers are not capable to carry such amount of data. Anyway, we are trying to follow the process that was started last year with World Peace Treaty, and we are trying to pass this ethos of World Peace Treaty to world population, and we would invite to do a commitment to this document, to sign this World Peace Treaty, and to act according to the ethos of these documents. So maybe I can pass microphone to other knowledge seekers who can add. Can I introduce maybe Ivan, who is with us today? He's medical doctor. Okay, he will introduce himself. I give microphone to Ivan, please.
Hello, I'm Ivan. I just wanted to say I'm not a medical doctor, but a dentist. Well, from the medical field anyway. And since I have been absent in the past couple of weeks, I have not been involved that much with the manufacturing of or creating the nanomaterials. But this week we have also started to look at the active plasma reactors. Well, I was already thinking about this for the past couple of weeks while back in Belgium. And so what I understood about the new active plasma reactors is that where in the past the activation of the plasma was achieved first by the vacuum, which gives room to the elements, to the gases, the atoms of the gases and the electrons and the protons first, and then the nuclear, the radiation which ionizes them. That now with the new reactors, the conditions are created instead of forcing it. The conditions are created to allow a plasma to form. So the right environment is created. And I compare this to what I know from the medical background. Our body is always trying to heal any type of wound. It's not the doctor that's healing us. So if you take as an example somebody who breaks a bone, a leg for instance, it's actually our own body that will do the healing, that will reattach the bone. But the only thing the doctor has to do is to create the right environment to allow the body to do the healing. And then the body will do all the rest of the work. And that is more or less with the new type of ignition, you could say, for the reactors, what we will be doing, just creating the right environment for the plasma, to manifest, for the life to manifest, you could say. So that's about what I was thinking of right now. Maybe I can pass the microphone to someone else. So Yukaku is going to speak now. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, Rick, and all knowledge seeker in all over the world. This is Yukako from Japan. Actually, I just got back to institution this morning. I have spent this beginning of this week with the delegate from Japanese University from Kyoto. I'm happy to announce that they also show great interest to the Keshe technology in nanomaterials, and then going to give us an experiment opportunity, hopefully in the beginning of April near Kyoto. This is the oyster bed, and the water showing some, but it's not the heavy contamination like Fukushima, but they need to have some solution for this, even this little contamination, because it's radiation contamination, even in Kyoto area, and it's actually spread it all over the Japan. I'm sure it's not only Japan though. So, so next week, next Monday, I'm going back to Japan, and mainly for the Fukushima, and apparently 2 associations going to be going to collaborate to make using these nanomaterials to see, how to see the results, to see the, to making a proof of these nanomaterials decontaminations work. And I think if it were not updated, I understand that I can take it 5 different nanomaterials with me. One is CO2, as Marko mentions, and the other one is a nano copper powder, which is a powder type of the nanomaterials extracted from the nano-coated copper pipe. And also 2 different kind of filter. One is we creating it using the stainless container to making a mesh with the nano-coated wires. And one is a single materials using the nano copper also. The other one, we try to see that, mixed materials, 3 different kind of wires inside of these containers, zinc, and I think 2 different kind of coppers in it. Yeah. Brass, yes, brass. So we can experiment that which kind of materials can work efficiently to this, certain radioactive materials also. And in the end, I'm going to take the PET bottle reactor. Also, we assume that it works for the contaminated water. So those 5 materials going to be experimented from 28th of March this month, and I'm going to spend 4 days in Fukushima with the 2 associations. And now I'm trying to broadcast this experiment online, if possible, in real time. And at least all the experiments going to be recorded and uploaded to the YouTube as soon as possible. So, and all the Japanese supporters are really exciting about this experiment. But And also I'm thinking about to make a little workshop to show that nano coating layer process, and also some PET reactor making process too. So I hope next workshop I probably can bring some kind of positive result. But even though if we are not positive, we really have to develop this, experiment process, because some Japanese supporter gave me a big encouragement, but probably they think that this is kind of magic wand, and the case I can say that Keshe technology is one of the most influential solution to change this current Fukushima situation for sure. But we have to, experiment, and we have to use our wisdom and knowledge and creation to, use these materials in the right way, in most efficient way to change the situation. So I think it's not instant. It's not really like, instantly we can get the best result from this beginning of this experimental, but this is a great starting point, and I really appreciate all your support and encouragement all over the world. So I uploaded several photos to Facebook that what we've been what we've been preparing for this Fukushima experiment. So please check and then give us more idea how to make an experiment more efficiently. Thank you very much. So. Okay, I'm going to pass the microphone to the host from Spain. Thank you.
Hello, Rick. Hello to all. Well, I like to transmit that I'm very excited right now because the things we make this week is very interesting for me, because we are touching now the big mystery of biology, the beginning of the life on Earth. When science says that there are several theories about something, it's like saying we don't have idea of this. So I'm going to be enlightened today with Mr. Keshe that show us right now the beginning of the life. And also we have experiment today with very simple conditions, not only the producing of CO2. Also, we started to see some things about the beginning of life, and this dismantled totally my ideas about biochemics and how to produce the first molecules that can replicate and carry life and information. And on the other hand, I'm very proud of my group in Spain for such work they are making, because on my second workshop in one day I have more than 7,000 visits. So it's very encouraging for me, and I try to keep this level of teaching and communicating with the Spanish speaking world. So at the moment it's just like my feelings are like this. So we can talk later about all these topics.
Hello, everybody. One thing I want to start with.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, they know me.
No,
Rick. My name is Armen Guloyan, and I am one of the knowledge seekers in the Spaceship Institute.
Just early for you, that's all.
I know that. You recognize me. How are you, Ludmila? Anyway, what I want to start with, I know all of you starting to develop these reactors, and you're going to start to feel that what you create, you have to pray for it. Because first thing, every creation need that energy to start. And I want you, even when you're starting your small reactors or any experiment that you are developing, please pray for it. You will understand why. And have your intentions, and all love to give that creation. Because if you start something, you are responsible for it. I want you to understand that point, because this is going to be the beginning of everything you start and you create, and it's beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Herman.
So, hello everyone. I'm John, as you know, one of the knowledge seekers. I suppose you are all waiting for lots of stuff new for you. So I'll try to explain what we have been doing and give a few details. We've been making cells in which we have been using nano-coated material, and the nano-coated material is used in salt cells. I'll try to give detail. In fact, we create kinds of batteries which are on the one side with nano-coated copper, and the other side is plain copper, and that's put into liquid, which is water plus sea salt. We have made different cells with different kind of sea salt, and we have been connecting a series of dust cells, and dust cells didn't give much of voltage. We didn't have a very high voltage. We had how many cells do we have there? 5, 30, 45, nearly 45. I can't say exactly. We have, in fact, 15 plus 15 plus, and then it's yes, it should be over 50. But we have a voltage which is about 1 and 1.2, and if we could go up to 1.6 at one moment. And we just left the hole with a short circuit. So there was a small current flow going into the cells. It was in fact connected to a fan, but the fan didn't turn, so it was only a small current going through. That small current was enough, in fact, to activate some kind of reaction, as it was told to us to have a prayer, ask God to intervene. And the next day, when I arrived, Mr. Keshe says, well, I've made a good job. I didn't remember exactly what was my good job at that moment, but in fact, next day, we started to see a milky suspension in each cell. That was the start of the production of CO2, and that was, in fact, appearing in each cell just about very nearly the same, but it depended also on the cells when we had different kind of salt solution. So that was in fact different experiment, let's say, we could see something else appearing in the cells with other solutions, either diluted salt water or salt from other areas in the world. So that's the description I can say about this system. And this morning we have seen the experiment Mr. Keshe did, not telling us he was doing the same experiment in his lab. And this time,
John, I don't want to interrupt, but Geert is saying that the live stream is not working, Rick. Can you just verify that real quick so that we can continue?
Seems to be some trouble with the live stream here. I'll try to sort it out. Okay, what I'll do is I'll...
Oh, it's back.
No, it's back. It's magically back.
It's back. Okay.
We just prayed for it.
You should have seen yesterday. Sorry to jump in. You said pray for it. The knowledge seekers made the CO2 unit. The first experiment the knowledge seekers did, when they connected the bottles of the first experiment, they were expecting the motor to run, and the motor didn't run, but there was a small amount of energy created. Then we built the second one later on 2 days ago, and it was very nice. I wish I had a video and I could video it. They were praying to the machine to start working. John was over the whole system with his hand, going over it, giving his own energy, and it still wasn't working. The motor wouldn't turn. So
But it was working internally.
it was working internally because it was producing a lot of CO2. And so we do a lot of praying here too, like you just did for live stream. It was very nice. Everybody was doing all the meditation on top of the system, and it still didn't light up. So I let John carry on. That was the power of meditation.
So you have a small echo that is, in fact, we made the first experiment that shows us different aspects that we try to correct. And what I have been describing is, in fact, the second part, essentially. And that second part is already something more detailed, and we have been more systematic in the way of trying to do it. So, as Mr. Keshe said, I asked God to intervene, and in fact, by doing it, it's the first time I have been feeling the presence in myself, doing so for, let's say, material aspect. I know how I feel when I do it for somebody, for a person, for sensitivity around me. And there I have been feeling nearly the same, and even I was in a way receiving a lot. And I knew that something was happening. And that's why, in fact, once I had done that, I know that, in fact, I just go to the next step, which is, I have done what I could at that moment, and then I don't especially think about it afterwards. And next day, I arrived, and Mr. Keshe says, John, you have made a good work. And I wondered what it was until he showed us that, in fact, all the cells were becoming milky and with just the start of the CO2 appearing in the cells. So that's my experiment. I explained what I was feeling. I cannot describe that aspect, but I know because I've been living something interesting, important for me, and I know the others cannot really understand, but it's something I live, and that's the way I see it. So this morning we had to start the workshop, and Mr. Keshe just introduced us to his experiment. And his experiment, he showed us the small ventilator that was turning with his experiment. So it was different. Apparently the nanocoating of our material was not perfect. His was better because of his experience. The cells were not made the same. Well, we have to go further to understand more precisely what happens and what's the difference. So we have to continue the experiments and the understanding of the work we have before us, that we have to produce by the understanding. So I made a tour of aspects of the experimentation. I have, and we all have started also to work on the dynamic reactors. And there is one of the reactors that is just about ready to start, but it will wait until Monday. When I came back from Belgium, I brought back another reactor I've been making quite fast. So apparently it's a new reactor that I'll be doing with that. And Mr. Keshe is very happy to see it. I won't say more for the moment. Okay, so I'll finish now. If ever you have a question, there's Marek maybe that will say something. I don't give him lots of space left. I don't know what he'll have to say. So I'll leave him the place.
So hello, it's Marek. And somebody asked a question on the chat. What is the amount of salt we have used? Well, any amount of salt will create different conditions to capture different things. And actually we have used, let's say, for 15 liters of water, 1 kilo of salt. But we have made also other solutions with different amount of salt and different kinds of salts. We have used purified salt and natural salt from Persian salt. And we just wanted to see what will be the difference in creating different conditions. So you can see in all these cells, let's say with different, each cell is individual, it has its own environment and influences other cells. And each cell has different geometry of electrodes. in different distance of electrodes, different salt solution, and also its position in the whole set makes a difference. So it's like when you have a crowd of people, everybody is different and influences others people. So we can see it in the process that there is different production of captured material. In some cells we can see even a production of fat, amino acids. Some cells like to attract blue material, some white material. So each cell decides according to its buildup what its internal magnetic fields will attract according to similarity it radiates outward. And the environment reacts on the radiated spectrum of fields, and similar fields are interacting with these cells, and material with similar properties as the radiated field from the cell is attracted, and then in the salt solution transformed into another kind of state of matter we call GANS. For me, the GANS state is special state which is in balance. Its fields, magnetic fields, are in balance in the way that the magnetic field caused by attraction of magnetic fields in the GANS particles, and the gravitational fields, magnetic fields are caused by repulsion of the same magnetic poles, and gravitation fields are caused by attraction of different opposite poles, and both resulting fields, magnetic and gravitational, are very well balanced in this GANS state of matter. And this balance makes it more environment independent, if I can say it, that it can sustain more environment changes than, let's say, ordinary solid, liquid, or gaseous gas state of matter. So when we have done the first experiment, we connected the last cell, and we were all awaiting great result, that everything will flash and turn, fans will run. Mr. Keshe showed us this morning a running fun, but it's not about this. The cells, the whole set of cells produced and is still producing the energy from the captured material, but the energy in our case was not enough to run all the equipment connected. But anyway, the process still was ongoing. So we have learned that the nature shows us its own pace of doing things in subtle manner, and it needs time to let the magnetic fields to interact and create concrete results. When you put seed into ground, you don't get the plant the second day. You have to wait for the process to attract all the fields the seed needs to expand itself to become a plant. And the nature creates the right conditions for this process. It's all controlled for me by intelligent beings. You can ask whatever you want, and we can continue.
Yes, this is Lucian. Good morning. Here I would have a question based on you guys said. It's clear that based on configuration of electrode surface distance, the concentration of the seawater solution, the magnetic and gravitational fields are changing. So if you want to achieve a specific or to attract a specific material, let's say a CO2 or CH4 or CH3 or whatever you want, you somehow should know the substances, how to say, MAGRAV, as Mr. Keshe says, because in this way you can dimension your cell, and as you guys said, put the number of cells behind each other or on the top of each other, however it should be. So how the question would be how you determine this for each substance.
In fact, for the moment, the cell will determine itself what it will attract. If it's CO2 or CH4, it's the condition created in the cell that will allow the attraction of the one or the other. So measurements should maybe be done. We are experimenting, so we are not trying to measure, we are trying to create conditions and understand what's the process. So that the measurement can come afterwards, we have to understand what's happening. So that's one aspect. And eventually we had to see also what some contacts would make, because the way we have done it had some influence in the results. So that's why we tried to make a second series of cells with different way of connecting, and try to have a better understanding at certain levels. Well, we still have a lot to do. What I would like to add now is what we have seen after 24 hours. We had in different cells some solution, some milky solution, and we have taken from 4 of the cells that milky solution and put it into a plastic container. There's a video of it. And in fact, when the liquid started to rest, we started to see something very special. we could see that in the milky solution, there were sort of lines going from the sides to a circle, something which was more or less a circle in the middle, and those lines
Sorry,
are
John,
fields.
I don't mean to interrupt, but again, the live stream is down, Rick. So if everybody can just be a little bit patient, and we'll wait for it to come back up before we continue, if that's okay.
Yes, no problem. No problem.
Good morning, John. How you doing? Is it necessary to pull the excess electrons off, like when you were running the fan, to produce the CO2?
So you see electricity to be drawn out is part of the condition we produce.
Yeah, that's amazing, actually.
It sounds like the opposite of a electrolysis.
It is exactly.
Really? Exactly right, Vince. That's nice.
Yeah, the reason is because in electricity...
Speak into the mic. Speak into the mic. Speak into the mic.
I never learned why. Impossible. Yeah. These amateurs, huh?
Good morning, Mr.
Is the live stream on yet, or do you want me to answer? Because the answer to your question is very important, or what you just said.
Thank you.
Yeah, I asked the question that this sounds like we are doing the reverse of electrolysis.
This is not the reverse of electrolysis. Is in the process which you are familiar to is a chemical reaction, electron movement, or what we call you plate or transfer atoms from one plate to another, or electrons. This process is a magnetic gravitational field transfer. So nothing changes in the property or characteristics of the plates or the nanomaterial in the solution. What happens, because the system is set to absorb like CO2 as a gas, when the gas on the surface area of the liquid is absorbed through gravitational magnetic field attraction, because the copper coating has the property to create within the nano layers in the holes and the multi-hole layer, which is a more or less gravitational magnetic field cavities, a gravitational magnetic field equal to CO2. So what it is like attracts like. So what it happens, the CO2 above the water is not as a matter but as a gas in a very specific gravitational magnetic field, is attracted towards the cavity where is supposed to be the nano layers. By getting attracted, in the process of going through the water, it releases part of its gravitational magnetic field because of the friction between the fields, and it finds balance within the liquid of the salt. The gravitational magnetic field of the GANS of the same. So if you look at it, this we deliberately said some people might think what the Institute doing with the half-cut bottles of water bottles and cola bottles, doing such an experiment as you see in the first experiment. The reason for it was to show that CO2 or other materials literally rain down into the bottom of the process. So they enter as CO2 into the liquid. Due to gravitational magnetic fields, which is created between the nano layers and gravitational magnetic field of the salt, this allows the change or absorption of the energy of gravity and the magnetic field of the CO2 to a GANS. So it rains down as gas down or as GANS down to the bottom of the container. it is not a chemical reaction. It is gravitational magnetic field extraction. And the energy you see, which is running the motor or initiates the next cycle of work, is the energy which is the balance left between the gravitational magnetic field of the gas and the GANS. Something which is not understood fully by a lot of people in respect to GANS. In a GANS state, what happens is that the element gravitational magnetic field and magnetic field, which is the repulsion, and at the same time attraction, create a balanced border. So why the GANS, it looks like a sphere shape, is because of the magnetic field, which is magnetical field, which is the repulsion, and gravitational field, which is the attraction. They create the interaction between themselves at that layer, which is the balance point. It's exactly the same situation as you see with what I always explain, when the magnetic field of the Earth faces the magnetic field of the Sun. The interaction between the four forces of gravitational magnetism of the Earth and gravitational magnetic field of the Sun, the pull and tear and push, creates the daylight. So this is why the GANS materials look bright. They look like a sphere themselves, because the energy which you observe, which you extract to run the motors or the light, is the energy which, for example, magnetical field, which is a repulsion, has to give up to become in balance with the gravitational field of the same atom. So the interaction between the two creates the GANS state or the spherical state we see. Instead of them interacting with the outside, like Earth, with gravitational magnetic field about 60 kilometers up or whatever, in the GANS state, the two fields themselves interact because they just become to balance. So one is reduces to the other one to be able to hold on to in respect to gravitational magnetic field of the environment. Then that reduction or giving up of the magnetical field, which is the repulsion, to the gravitational field, is the energy you absorb, and you see it to run the systems. The whole condition, the spherical shape of it, we've seen is like a ball bearing. We've shown it in the other pictures in the book. So this is why it's totally
Mr. Keshe, you're breaking up.
This is totally different concept than chemical reaction, because with the production of the GANS, you release part of one, which is the magnetical field or gravitational field, to bring the two in balance in respect to themselves, because then they become an entity in a different condition balance, and that is why the environmental condition cannot touch them. This is why you can boil the meat of the man through stages of matter. But the only thing is, when you burn the body of the man, okay. So what happens is that the gravitational magnetic field is, if you want to explain it, is the difference between the mass and weight. The mass is what the entity holds on its own. Your mass is the same, doesn't matter where you go, because gravitation, the interaction between the gravitational and magnetical field of your body, the cells of your body, dictates your mass. Doesn't matter where you are, because this elements, the number of atoms and molecules in your body is constant. When you go to another condition in respect to, then you have the weight, which is the mass, your mass against the mass of the Earth, and then it becomes the gravitational magnetic field of the two entities interacting, and becomes your weight. GANS is the same thing. GANS is the mass and is independent of environment. But matter is like a weight. Its environment, like the temperature and pressure, can affect it. This is the difference between the two and the behavior of the two. And this has created a lot of confusion in understanding the process of the GANS. So when John speaks that we see material in the containers, and for the first time in both processes, we have seen, as I said before, the process of production of protein in an open environment. And we have seen it growing, and it's controlled growth. And in the second experiment, which is the colored boxes, we still have, I've seen yesterday and today, again, production of the protein. How come the protein is produced? It's not a fat that we drank the water or somebody put a finger in it. The reality is, this is how life started on this planet. It has never been explained. Everybody says we are made of the dust of the earth. We are not made of the dust of the earth. The human body is made from the interaction of the gases which are in the atmosphere in giving up their energy to the salt, which is the matters of the environment of the planet. And in that conversion, protein is created. And the essence of creation starts. It's the first time we explain this. We are not the dust of the earth. The man is actually made from the gases of the atmosphere of the earth in conjunction with the salts or different elements, which is the content of the earth itself, the matter part of the earth, the solid part, in giving up part of their gravitational magnetic field, has led to GANS state of the molecules. And that's why our tissues are soft, because they are GANS and they're not matter. And in fact, our skin
is that also
is
why
the
we see
division
different races?
between... Yes, of course. Life is not exclusivity of this planet. And soon, as I always say, we open the doors of universe very shortly. We released the patents, we released the keys thanks to the Taiwanese scientists. And now the man is equal, irrespective of race, color. And interesting enough, our servers and security people, they are amazed how this thing is getting downloaded around the world. Their estimate has passed tens of millions, and we don't know why. The reason is, now with this, everybody has the same knowledge. Knowledge of universe, knowledge in this way has never been distributed so fast by everyone. If you're in Africa, now your knowledge is equal to the man in the White House, irrespective of your color and race and where you came and where you originated to. So if you understand the process, this talk of that we are back to dust, come from the dust and we go back to the dust. The dust carries the elements like sodium, potassium, or any other matter, which the interaction with the presence of liquid of water, the CO2, the carbon in the air, oxygen in the air, nitrogen in the air, and hydrogen in the air, the mixture in becoming GANS, they develop what we call amino acid, the GANS of amino acid. And now we understand for the first time, our life does not come from the earth. Our life comes from the air of the atmosphere of the earth. And this is the same anywhere in the universe, irrespective of magnetic gravitational field. Today, for the second time, I showed the knowledge seekers about 3 weeks ago when they came, they couldn't understand because it was too much to absorb. Today, now that they started understanding and they've been making the systems to convert the gas into GANS, the purpose is not making energy. The purpose was to show the conversion of gases into life. And they've seen protein being produced. As the carbon, as the nitrogen, as the oxygen, and as the hydrogen get absorbed due to gravitational magnetic field of the of the nano layers, they become imbalanced to create protein. And that's how life created on this planet, and it'll be done.
Here from
and for the first time, I opened them my, what I call the box of life. In the box of life, which we shipped from Belgium to here, it's been going on now for about 2 years, 2 or 3 years now. I have created a condition that life can be created anywhere in the universe. And there's a bottle, there are 4 bottles, which I have created the 4th condition. Matters are getting created on their own. And in one, which is the sealed box, is written on top of it, I showed them today. It says, Maye Zendegi, which means the essence, the water of life, which means you can create life anywhere in the universe. We have the knowledge. The knowledge for energy, the knowledge for matter, the knowledge for creation of life, the knowledge for motion, the knowledge for process of changing matter into life and for medical application is all released to you in equal measures. Nobody can hide anything. According to your intelligence, you develop your own ways. So what has been promised, when the time comes, everybody will receive everything on equal basis and will be fair. Now the time has arrived. The reality is, everyone has the same knowledge now. The fact is, nobody can abuse another, and because now you can't abuse each other, the ground is set for the world peace. The whole setup, the whole process we've taken so long to get to today had a purpose. The reason was, we knew one of the nations will be careless or will not have any respect for what they received, and they let the USB stick go. And I knew for a long time it'll be done this week. And it happened exactly the way I wished that it was supposed to be done. And today is a very strange day. In the morning, we are in the winter time. At 8:27 and 7 seconds in Tehran's time, we enter spring. This is the time for new generation, new regeneration, and this is the time for the man the same. The reason the patterns and the USB stick was released, and we encouraged it to be released, and it was done by the will of God, that it was done in past week, was for today. From today, we close the book of the past. Yeah. From today, we close the book of the past, and from tomorrow, we start the beginning. There is something very, very important you all know and you all ignore. You always talk about DNA. And some of you, because the knowledge is not mature yet, speak about RNA. When you speak about DNA, you speak about your color of your eye is the same as your grandmother or your great-grandmother, or your nail is twisted because your great-grandfather or whatever. We go back into the religious side, as I was explaining to knowledge seekers last week, preparing them for today. If you are a Jewish background, you know, with respect, all respect to your faith and your belief, most of the Jews speak with a th, very tip of the tongue. And is in the Jewish religion, they say this is because Moses put a fire on his tongue and he burned his tongue. When the king said this boy had, he ordered all the boys to be killed. And in front of the queen, the little boy put a fire on his tongue, and the queen said, how can you kill a stupid boy which picks a fire and put it in his tongue? And that now is the sign of being a Jewish, and they're proud of it. So it means after 2,000 years, the memory physical memory has been transferred. The way I explained about the daughter of Yo last week. So, one piece which you are missing, it'll be put on the table, and then you understand. The color of your eye, the height of your, God knows, your shoulder, your nails color or fingerprint, all is accumulation of from generations and generations and generations, and it goes back to what goes from the time of the first life. And through it, we are all connected, but as we branched off, we carried different conditions, and so we changed our fingerprint. But in essence, as United Nations research has shown, we all come from the same mother. But one thing you have never understood, DNA has carried the physical knowledge of the development. RNA has carried the information part and the part which is collected to the soul of the man. So, through your RNA, you all understand, doesn't matter who your ancestors were, where you came from, you at this moment are a collection of not only the physical mutation, but the knowledge mutation too, and their soul. So when it was promised on the promised day, all men resurrect and they'll be there to be judged, you as a person are resurrected and you carry all the RNA, all the information of your ancestors, and you're responsible to it. So what it means, I try to find a word to put it that you understand. When we say the time will come that there will be peace and honey and everything plenty is given in the patents to you. In the USB sticking past week. You can have as much as whatever you wish if you create the condition for it. As they said, we create the condition, we had protein on our system. You can have gold, you can have anything you like. But now is the time of balance. So you as a person, doesn't matter what religion you carry, in what you have believed, or you believe in a statue or whatever, you carry part of the DNA and information and soul of your ancestors. And once, does not matter what religion you have, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Zoroastrian, Buddhist, in whatever you believe, if you just make a decision, and when you make a decision to
Sorry, Mr.
stand
Cat.
for
We need to interrupt.
Okay, so what happens is that when you stand as a physical part, which you carry all the memories of your ancestors because of the color of your hair or your color of your nose, your eyes, the same way through your RNA, you stand judgment for the soul and the conduct of the people who have made you, that become you. So the judgment day stands in front of you. By you cannot waken all the dead over past millions of years. But through their soul, through their RNA, which you carry, which has become part of you, you become answerable and you stand for the lot. If you choose to stand for peace, all the religions are one. If you stand for unity, all the human race is one because you came through it. And somehow down the line, you connect to another one. Another cousin could be Chinese, another cousin could be from South Africa, or another Chinese friends who could be from South America. So the judgment day is today. And in fact, the only position is, if you are the Pope, if you are a religious leader, you still stay the same. It will not be the change of religion, because in either way you worship the same thing. But it will be to connect all the religions and all the races through World Peace Treaty. And that's the completion which has been promised. Now is in the hand of the man. You have the patents, you have all the information, and the ones who don't understand it will teach you. That's why there are the knowledge seekers here. And we add more and more. We were talking yesterday that knowledge seekers have to be from all over the world. The 8 knowledge seekers on the panel sitting around this table have now understood the responsibility of fairness, equal, and plenty for all. And this goes from this table out from now on. If you're a pope, if you are a religious leader in the Islamic world, if you're a rabbi, if you're a priest in any faith, or even you worship a statue, at the end of the day, you stand responsible to your soul. And in space of the universe we opened up, there are no mosques and there are no churches and there are no synagogue. You carry the temple of God in your soul and in yourself. And as God said, there shall be no war and there shall be peace. And today we finish with the old, and from tomorrow we start with the new. We teach you everything you need to know. We develop every aspect of the technology, and you have marvelous people around the panels of the Keshe Foundation who will teach you this. You don't need us, you will learn and you will teach us. So the promised day is today, and this is the end of the past and the beginning of the new. The only way is you don't need to become a new religion and you don't have to change your faith. The only thing is, as all the faith, you accept what is the ultimate thing, because now you're not yourself anymore. As I said, the color of your body is where it came through your generation. Now you're answerable to the soul of all the ones through your RNA who made you to be here. So people call me and they write all sorts of things who I am. I'm nobody. But the connector between the past and the future and unity of the past. If the human race does not unite now, you will not survive in the space. Because space is a peaceful place and there is no room for animosity and greed. Because we have taught you today how you can make protein, and as the knowledge seekers told you. So what would you like? Would you like lamb, or would you like beef, or would you like veal, or would you like sardine? Would you like gold, or would you like copper, or would you like to live in a house made of clay? You decide according to your own intelligence and your own needs, as long as your needs does not change into greed. Because soon in the space you will learn there is no greed. So the message is very clear. Today is the end of the past and tomorrow beginning. Those who plan to do whatever, let them do. In past 2-3 weeks, I opened the door to what injustice is. If I wanted to punish them, the punishment would have been easy. A father never punishes his children, but it teaches them and prays for them. So we prayed for our enemies. As of today, there will be no more enemies. As their own soul will punish them, or as their own soul will demand justice to go to the next step, and they come forth and open their hands who they are and what they've done, not to me, but to the human race. So I call on His Excellency President Obama as much as call on my President, His Excellency President Rouhani, as much as to the Chinese leaders and Japanese leaders and the rest of the world. If you do not stop making the war machines, we'll make so much peace machines that your war machines, with the knowledge we have carried, will be like a toy in the hand of a child. As you know, We are going into the development of the spaceship technology, and now we have the ground and the facilities to do it, independent of the governments if the governments don't want to do it. This time, it will be the people who dictate the peaceful condition, not the monies in the bank and the ones who want to have more. We are very, very simple. There is no time for revolution, but it's the time for evolution. We have to evolve from animosity and fight into unity and peace, and we serve more and we achieve more. And we give so much free knowledge and technology that people will find out there is no need for it. Go and buy yourself a piece of copper. Go and get hold of a caustic. Put it in the water, in the salt you cook your food in, and you can have as much energy as you like. You wanted free energy? We've seen it. And while you're making your little free energy to run your little batteries or your lights, from the gases and from the environment, you create your own protein and your own food. Land of plenty. Find yourself a piece of metal. Break those what so-called hand phones, and the material is in the back of the battery in your handset, in your telephones, in your mobile phones. You have everything you wanted, no hunger and enough heat and energy. Just very simple. Dip it in sodium mixture, leave it, let it make its own layer, and dip it back in the sodium mixture in a different name we call salt. And you create the same kind of, as the universe has done. You convert the CO2 into matter in what you want to eat. So there is no hunger, and the solution for the energy is solved. Those people who want to sell kilowatts and megawatts, you have to make the plasma in a different shape in a dynamic reactor, and in the weeks coming, we will show live the way you have seen the knowledge seekers have put the video of a Coca-Cola bottle and half cup cut. It wasn't there to, what do you call it, to show energy. It was shown, it was done to show the man in Africa now is as rich as the man anywhere in the world. So with the half Coca-Cola bottles hanging all over the countries, now every man can produce his own energy and food. John said something about, and he stopped about his reactor core, which is brought with himself, and he made it in a hurry. And I said to him, this is going to be a beautiful core. He didn't tell you half of the story. He went back to Belgium for 3-4 days last weekend, and in a hurry he tried to make a core. First of all, one half of the core is beautifully glazed. The other half of the core, because of the speed of what he wanted to do and the material he's used, has no glazing, has exploded. It's literally like a bald man. Half has got hair, half no hair, and it's very funny. But the worst part about it is the column which is supposed to rotate has sheared off, is broken. What is done is glued it back on again. So he'll be running a broken reactor. And it will produce the same amount of energy as the most beautiful copper reactor. Foundation has spent nearly 40,000–50,000 euro up to now to produce the energy. And this will be for the man in Africa or in the jungles of Amazon. You can make a clay pot, even it's broken, and you can put a battery copper wire in it. You got your generator, and you got your food, and you got your energy. Now, the ones who want to sell megawatts and kilowatts and create a fission and fusion reactors and contaminate us the way they happened in Fukushima, your time is over, is done with. It's finished. The ones who went and took our server down and for 3 seconds they put my face and the cross in it and then said free energy, no thanks, Guys, you lost. Yes, please. It's on the table. It's finished. Energy game and power production game is finished. Total cost of enough energy to run a laptop to educate a child in Africa, 0. You thought you got me, but I got you so cleverly. Now the food is free. The pure water, clean water will be shown in Fukushima will be free. Food, you can charge your battery the same way if you put the right gravitational magnetic field in your copper wire. You can create any kind of energy level you like that you can drink it. It'll be your Coca-Cola, it'll be your banana, it'll be any vitamin, mineral you need for your body. This will teach in the coming days and weeks how to position your copper wires or your films that you can produce different minerals and metals that you can digest for your food. This is all is coming. As I think Marek told you on this conversation, each bottle, Coca-Cola bottle or water bottle which we cut is creating different environment. So you decide in one cup you want protein, in one cup you want potassium, you're short of magnesium, you create a condition in that cup that you create magnesium. And we teach all of it. So the financial control over man's need in the past 24 hours and in the past 7 days, thanks to the Taiwanese government in not understanding what they did with their scientists, is in the hand of the man. So the promise of all the prophets of God is fulfilled. Time of plenty and no war. The war is the condition of the man. As of today, it finishes. Very soon, does not matter what you jump out, which leader of the world you are. From today, every man has the potential, and they have downloaded, according to our servers, over 30 to 40 million times this document in the past 4 days. Only from the Keshe Foundation server, we locked everything up that nobody can make any comments except people around the world can come and pick up and go and download. Only of our servers, in excess of 25,000 copies has been made. In conjunction with other servers which we are monitoring, we passed millions. And people are very rapidly developing it and sharing it. And if you want, take the patent number 5, read it. We are showing that to you in the lab. My call goes to the world leaders who make boycotts for the children to suffer, for their factories to run. Your factories from today are shut, not by me, by people. People will start learning they don't need to have megawatts. A lamp in the corner of the house to allow a child not to sleep in a cold and in dark is the beauty, and thank again to our American friends, Coca-Cola bottle and a mobile phone. You have enriched us and we thank you for it. Now, the process is where we go from today. From next week, you will see all the Keshe Foundation reactors, which is in our possession, maybe 8, 9, will be run simultaneously as the knowledge seekers finish their reactors on one table. And we're trying on a live stream that you can 24 hours a day observe. Maybe we are asleep, we don't see, but you see the magnetic field of one reactor interacts with the other one, and let's say water drops from the middle. You can inform the rest, this is how you make the water. The way we open the knowledge, nobody can pattern, nobody can enforce anything anymore. The people who thought they can control the world through patent, unfortunately, internet has broken that rule. And as we've given our knowledge of universe free to the man, nobody can patent anything about this technology any further. Let me warn and let me tell something to the Canadian Prime Minister. Knowledge is a gift, and the one denies it through race, are not of the man. My position is very, very clear. You arrested me, you threatened to kill me. I forgave you enough. I don't need to forgive you. I prayed for your soul. In time, your soul will stand in front of your Creator and you have to answer. That time will be very soon. We don't punish. We give you the gift of love of the soul, that your soul will not accept the behavior of your body. That's your punishment. You punish yourself. Those world leaders who in the past week, since I announced what was planned for me and how we get the information, that what was to come for my execution, for my imprisonment and everything else, we watch them. They're even vetting their own security. Who has leaked this information? How did the guy came to know what we are planning? How we are going to show the emails which is written to a woman, to a man, or whatever? He's never gone off this internet. Your biggest spy is your soul to us. Nothing is hidden from us. You were looking for a spy who was leaking the information and bringing people from Belgium to Italy to collaborate. The spy is within you because we have a pure heart and a pure soul, and the soul passed the information. The way I said from the past, what you carry is the color of your grandfather and the true DNA, their soul and their knowledge. The same connection is revealed when you have a pure heart and you serve. We give you so much that your own physicality cannot stand the behavior and your soul will leave you. That's your punishment. You punish yourself. In the world, if I punish you, then somebody's done something to you wrong. But when you punish yourself, you can knock to no one. And the souls you carry are in the process of withdrawing from what you had. You think you know everything. You know nothing what we know about you. And I don't need to put a microphone in your bed or between you and your wife. Be it the King of Belgium or the Queen of Belgium who's half Italian. Your soul is serving you both well. And if we open what we know, there'll be no kings and queens on this planet. We leave it to them in time for them to correct their time. But from today, the past is finished. And from next week, we open the door of knowledge in a so rapid way that you cannot even imagine. If a broken pot from Belgium, which has come across in a plane and is cracked, can produce energy and water, the man in Africa just needs 5 minutes because the energy is free from the sun and the clay dries very quickly. So he's richer than the man who lives on the $10 million apartment on top of New York because he doesn't even have access to the soul to make his pot. So energy has become total free. And I say the ones who thought they can shut me down, thank you very much. Please do so because we spread the knowledge and the knowledge is available to every man around the world. And the way it's going, I think by the end of this month or next month, half of the world population who have access to computers, they are testing and will create energy for themselves. But I warn you, the ones who are making these films, don't lose your copper films and don't lose your copper wires. Make sure that none of the GANs can sit on top of your wires because then it clogged it and you lost it. You got to go and find another mobile battery in the middle of Africa. So hang your systems in the middle of the liquid, that the beauty of God showers from it like a rain to the bottom, and then you clean the bottom. Create the condition. You want at the bottom potassium, you collect potassium. And even if you collect something which you don't want or you don't need, there is a secret in the universe. You wish, you will receive. This is exactly what your parathyroid gland does in your body. Now we teach you how to do it. Your parathyroid gland, if you have too much phosphorus but you need calcium, through the same conversion of GANs, changes one element to another that the body needs. through the strength of your thoughts and what you desire, you can change matters. This is the advanced part of the knowledge which will teach you in time to come. This is what I explained. If you're in a space with the power of gravitational magnetic field of the mind, you can control the craft. You don't need physical steering. Look at the structure we released last week of the craft. There is no directional flight. There is no pilot sitting ahead of it, because the head becomes the tail and the tail becomes the head. And one end you can produce potassium, on the other end you're producing gold or water. I was teaching knowledge seekers that in the near future, even the tanks which you've seen in these designs are useless, but we had to put it there that the man understands, says, where is the food? So what we gather from this workshop, and I especially asked the workshop, and it happened to be today. Today is the last day of the winter, and tonight is the beginning of the spring. And this shall be for the man. And our wish always has been achieved, because our wish is pure and for the benefit of the man. Is there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. I have also thought of that aspect and have been under the understanding that that was possible. And thank you for confirming that. It's a real pleasure to hear that, especially from you.
You're welcome. Is there any question on the phone?
Mr. Keshe, I have one question.
Yeah.
The amino acid, are they also in GANS state?
Yes, of course they are. You have a molecular GANS as much as atomic. You see, the way in the chemical bond, let me explain to you. The way in the chemical bond, you get double connection, single connection, and all that information. In the GANS state, gravitational magnetic field balance does the same thing. If you look at the combination of the amino acid, look at the figures. You have gravitational magnetic field of a carbon-12, which is very near in so many ways at the carbon-14 to gravitational magnetic field of nitrogen. And in so many ways, in presence of a very simple radiation release from the nitrogen and interaction with the oxygen, is created. Or the gravitational magnetic field of the oxygen is in a way as part of the isotopes of the nitrogen. So the life combination is within the reach from one to another, and that's how it's done. It's gravitational magnetic field balanced near to each other. And the hydrogen is the only magnetic field element which has the freedom of not being twinned with another cell of itself. That's why we can get energy out of hydrogen in a matter state. In the GANS state, the energy is not so much released by the electron, but the energy is released by the balance of all the gravitational magnetic field of all the four together, or how they allow another one to be added to. I was explaining to the knowledge seekers in a very simple way. I don't think they understood fully the implication of it. When you're in a space, and let's say you have two spaceships, and the mother is in one spaceship and the father in the other with the children, you don't throw them in a space and say, oh, they'll meet in the space somewhere. You don't make what is now a chamber and you put them in there and bring it to vacuum and you put the other one through. What you do, you make what is known as a gating. You make a differential. I showed the process to the knowledge seekers. In the future, we show it how it's done. You bring the gravitational magnetic field of the two units near enough to each other that the friction is minimal. Then you put a third reactor which is creating balance between the center of the two, that you can walk from one to another. This is known as gating. This is in the patents. I think in one of the patents is mentioned. So the gating is part of the essential life. And in amino acid and in GANS state, matters connect to each other by differentiation and what you call a different state of magnetic field strength gating. So, in fact, you don't mix matters, but you bring enough gravitational magnetic field balance near to each other that the elements can interact and adjust and be positioned in respect to each other. This is why in amino acid you have, look, 12, 14, 16. Carbon, nitrogen, and on the top, oxygen. The heavier entity, which is the greater mass, which is the oxygen, becomes the star or gravitational holding, the glue, because it carries some higher mass. Earth has lower mass, the sun dictates with a heavier mass what happens to lower. This is the properties. The reason being why this heavy mass dictates, because it has more of the gravitational magnetic field on the principal level. And that's why it's the position that way. So it can go further and position and strengthen more of the same of the higher order. So in this process, the hydrogen is and can bounce between three different magnetic field environments. And by friction, the way as the sunlight and magnetic field of the Earth, as I explained earlier, that releases the energy from hydrogen into the environment that it can be absorbed by another ones which are need of one. These gatings and transfer in an atomic level, we will show very, very soon. I've seen one of the guys here is building a reactor for it, but I'm watching to see how he does. And when he gets there, I'll put it in the middle and show how the gating is done. And you will be witness to it. If I receive permission from my government and the government of Iran to open the Iranian nuclear-based reactor, which it was gifted to me by His Eminence Ayatollah Khamenei and the Iranian president, we put that on the table. It's sitting on the floor in the lab. That's the property and intellectual right property of the Iranian government. When I put that on the table, then the whole team understands what it means, what is the entrance into spaces. I have used part of the reactors which was given to me as a gift by the Iranian government when I left Iran. And those pieces, literally the pieces, is between among all the knowledge seekers, without them knowing, I've given a piece of Iran to them. So, very soon we will show how a system in interaction can be gated, that you need it. At the same time, part of the gating can be used that in between some elements or reactors, you need it in your universal configuration to produce material. And as you change the strength of your gating reactor, you move from hydrogen to manufacture of the sodium, to manufacture of the plutonium if you need it, to manufacture of even the elements which the man does not even understand yet. So in gating and interaction is exactly the same in a molecular level of the amino acid as will be in the space technology. All this we will teach. Let me explain. There are people who don't understand what's going on. I was trying to explain to the knowledge seeker in the past few days. Thank you. And that is, we brought in 8 knowledge seekers, not because of their knowledge, but through the strength of their soul, because we know who they are. As I said, The king does not need to have a spy in his bed. The spy is his own soul. So the 8 people sitting around this table as knowledge seekers, we know who they are. We know them for a long time, before even they knew they were supposed to be here. The 8 will stay the same. These 8 are the 8 which will make the 3rd member of the Keshe Foundation Board of Directors when I'm gone. One will be appointed by United Nations, one will be appointed by the religious section of the man, and the scientific section will be appointed by the board here, by the panel which sit on 8 here. As it says in my order, that the religious side chooses 8 scientists from around the world, and that 8 will come from this panel, and that one person will sit as a board member for the Keshe Foundation. So these 8, they'll replace themselves in time. When it comes, they know the time is not there to serve the way they're supposed to. It will not come by death, but it comes by maturity of the man, knowing he cannot serve correctly or for whatever reason. And there'll be no corruption around this table, as I've seen with all of them. Because now they know they can have everything they need. What do they need to fight for but to serve? So the other 25 will join us 2025. They become the scientific backup to back this research, which sits on the top what they decide to do. And at the same time, as you have seen and it just been said by our members earlier on at the beginning, Yukoko comes here. She goes away for 2-3 days because she has children in another city. She comes back, she starts where she left it, and she learns from whatever it is. Dr. Ivan, he comes here for a week because he has his surgery. He goes away for 2 or 3 weeks. He comes back here. They are not chosen for their provision. They are chosen for the soul they carry. So the next generation, 25, and the 8 become the teachers for the 250 when it starts in September. And those 250 will be allowed to stay not more than a few weeks or a month too. Because once they learn, they go back to their country, they teach, and they come back. So we get a flow of millions learning very fast. In matter of next 2 years, we make sure there is enough knowledge in every nation, every race and creed, that the collaboration, the pride will not be in killing and being powerful, in how much you share and you can become more advanced. It's very much like a woman who goes shopping and she comes back with a diamond ring of 2 carats and he shows it to her neighbor and says, oh, I've got a 3 carat. Now the pride of the man will be gained in knowledge and not in weapon technology, because the weapons are useless. The whole process is very, very simple. We teach as much as we can, and it was the greatest pleasure. In past few days when we were talking, they said, so we have to have as many races, as many as we can on the table and in the institute. That's the way we will work. This is the way the foundation will work. Does not matter who sits around this table. Serving unconditionally. You haven't seen anything yet. But if you look, there is a video which just been uploaded with a little fan running to show you can have energy if you want. This was taken only about 20 minutes before we start this workshop. The knowledge transfer is so rapid, it's never been matched in the human race. Now, how you see in that little cups, the energy can run a motor, and now you can run a light. Then the African boy tonight has a light. And the man in the Central Electricity Board of France looking, how am I going to resign my position because there's no need for me here anymore. So the situation has changed. The ones who cannot build it, we build it for them, but on the fair price and fair condition. And as I said to the Italians, you charge for the generators which you are developing, finishing, is still 5,000 euro. Even the cost of the reactor will be 250. You're allowed 5 or 10% profit, which is justified that you can do things. The balance goes giving units to the Italians who cannot afford 5,000, but they have to have their energy too. At the same time, as we give it free, The government has to know who received it, that people can contribute to upkeeping of the nation. Everything will go just on peace because it's free. So it's not a matter of who's having a Rolls Royce. It's not a communist time that they're all equal, but it's the time that everybody is comfortable to the right measure. And this is what's going to happen. We move to a position working with the governments and offices and organizations who understand our language. And the situation is very, very, very nice. We received Fukushima situation with Yukoko is flying out next week to see if we are correct or how we can adjust it. We're not going to be correct 100%. We have to adjust it. She has to report to us. So now Keshe Foundation will be one leg in Japan and one leg here. And in past 24 hours, I received authorization from one of the major nuclear governments that they have even given me a list of what they want to test the material. And it's free to them. We are giving the same knowledge to Fukushima to add to this government, nuclear physicists. They've told me what combination of cesium and contamination I'll receive because it's a major problem in the West. And our knowledge is given to this government totally free, unconditional. So now we have the Keshe Foundation in the center. We have Yukoko in Japan next week. And we have another major government here in the West testing the same thing. And our condition was, we don't keep anything away from you. You don't keep anything from us. And what you learn will be shared with everyone. So now the Fukushima situation, nuclear contamination, is spread with a fourth nation. So we spread, we work together, and we share together. And even I received a very strange email from a friend in past 24 hours. As is the right to have the copy of the generator because the Italians have been given the gift of. You have a patent. When we finished it, when it's done, when the generator out, it'll be given to every Keshe Foundation around the world. Be fast and create your own foundation, Keshe Foundations. That's a quick way to serve humanity, not a quick way to make a quick buck. So if you were shouting unfair and I want free energy, my dearest friend Sterling Allen, you have served us well. Now show the last video which was just uploaded in past half an hour, taken this morning. You will not run a motor, but if you make enough of Coca-Cola bottles and put them together, you will run a motor. But it's enough energy to support a man who cannot afford a 5,000 euro generator in the back of Africa. But he can have enough pots to absorb enough CO2 to create enough energy to create a free light for him and his children and warm himself in the winter. And in the near future, we show how these little Coca-Cola bottles can produce kilowatts, that everybody will be equal. So you create a condition in different Coca-Cola bottles, amino acid, gravitational magnetic field, you have fat. All you need to do, because you are taking pure amino acid, more or less a touch full of the top of the bottle which you're running the system will give you enough energy that you can last you a day, even more. So you don't need to kill the animal to eat it. The animal sits there and it keeps on producing it for you. And as you have the energy, you don't feel hunger. So the hunger is solved. Because you release energy in the GANS state, and your body is made of GANS, the absorption is immediate. The digestion system is totally for creating matter to GANS that it can cross the wall of your stomach or whatever. This is the beauty of this technology. Those who made seeds and licensing them that everybody can be controlled, oh boys, you are finished. Oh boys who were controlling the food chain, it's over. Now, tonight, if the man in Africa who listens or has managed to listen and he can cross the knowledge to his people, we have knowledge seekers from Africa and I respect you. Teach it to your nation and your people. You just need to touch the surface of these amino acid layers. Energy transfer is so rapid. Yesterday I was in the lab and I showed them, I just touched by accident the GANS and my lips were burning because the energy transfer is so rapid and I just by mistake touched my lips. So what I tell you, I know exactly what it is. But you have to understand what you're doing. I'm teaching here and we teach to the next generation. We teach on meetings like this that you understand the process. In one way, we are feeding, we are teaching how people to have everything they need, that we can bring the humanity to the same level with each other, that there is no hunger and there is no greed. But at the same time, we have to open for the ones who understand slightly more and are more supportive to open the space to you. So it's a spectrum like a father with different children in different ages. You don't take your love because of the youngest one cannot walk and go marathon running with the oldest one. You carry the one who can't run on your back and you run together the marathon. And this is what we're going to do. Till the young one grows up that he can do the marathon with you. The knowledge will be taught in different levels according to different people's understanding and knowledge and capability. We won't leave the old behind as much as we look after them with our health system, and we won't leave the poor behind. This is not technology for elite. We charge a lot of money at the beginning from the health side to support the development. And we always said to people, you are paying us to learn. Those who want to make a criminal cases that is doing health unofficially, oh boys, you got a long way coming. Because now everybody is an official doctor. I don't know how you're going to license these boys. FDA will have a huge problem on their hand because their masters in pharmaceutical lost control today. Because now you can create material which can reverse cancer, not by me, it's in the patent. You downloaded it, you understand it, you make it at home. And nobody can charge so much more because the patent belongs to everybody. So we close the book of the past when we start with new from tomorrow, which is the beginning of the spring. And I invite all the religious leaders. We do not touch you or your religion or what you believe in what path. We invite you to encourage your followers to sign in the World Peace Treaty, or by us allowing him to find peace, your system becomes obsolete. And what happens? It goes back to the essence of the prophets of God, bless their soul. So the structure of these buildings will have no meaning if it's not a place for real refuge of the needy and supported, not of the criminals. The rope should not be under any religion a house to hide criminals and greed. A rope has to be a house where the man finds peace, the true peace. And all this has been abused up to now, and not from now on. We don't fight you, we don't go opposite to you. All we do, we give love, care, and totality of the knowledge and the use of the knowledge. And the man will dictate the position. It's the time to adopt, to follow the teaching of what you received in the correct way, not the way it suited some. We are not here to fight. The time of fighting is finished, is over. Now we share equally. And we give equally. I enjoy seeing the knowledge seekers. They learn something, they within half an hour, within half a day, or the next day, they disappear into the upstairs room. And I just wonder where they are. Oh, they have a what do you call it, their teaching lesson, they have their workshop. They are so eager to share the knowledge, where now, if such a thing was in the university, they hide, let's make a patent first, let's do the, what do you call it, a spin-off and see how much money we can make out of it. Nobody here has ever seen, or haven't seen anybody even making a spin-off, let alone a patent. They have understood the ethos of the foundation. Knowledge is there, and somehow the food turns up on our table. And if we don't have a food, we have a machine which makes protein. We just touch it and put it on our lips, that's finished. We don't need to go to the supermarket. We have enough energy, we have the system to warm and heat ourselves with the, what do you call it, Coca-Cola bottles and water bottles around the town, which is dispersed everywhere. And you've seen the running motor by the followers, what do you call it, knowledge seekers. And you have seen how easy it is. Open a copper, aluminium, anything, put it in a caustic or anything which allows the upper surface to open up to surface to create its own layers of holes, or what you call nano layers, PN junctions, or whatever your terminology. And then allow a number of layers to be created. And then put it back in the salt, because man came from salt, from different salts for different reasons, as is the energy converter of the GANS from matter. You have your protein, you have your light for the energy you adopt, so you have enough food to eat. Next question.
Yes, Mr. Keshe, this is Lucian. Your lecture today was very comprehensive, and you will explain next workshop the creation of the positioning. But I have a very short question. In the CO2 patent, it were stated that both electrodes are copper. In the Fukushima video, you were showing your little box with compartments, and one electrode was iron. So based on what you said...
We use anything. We use anything. There is
yes,
no limitation.
My question would be, is my understanding that you tried there to create an imbalance between the magnetic...
No, if you, no, I'll jump in because
okay, so let me finish the question.
No, let me...
Okay, go ahead.
Because we had this discussion this morning with John on the table as well as a few of my systems. And the system which is called broken bottles, the first system, are all coppers. And they're still producing.
I think you need to come back to the microphone because you are fading out.
I'm in the micro. You want me to sleep in it? I'm just about
no, it's good now.
So the first set, both electrodes are copper. One is nano-coated and one is not nano-coated. We still get the same energy kind of things, and we get the same production of the CO2s and other materials and protein. And the second one is
it was having the iron chicken.
Copper and copper. Both says the knowledge seekers have made this copper and copper. I use a different thing because all it is how much energy you drain. If you just make these things and leave it open, nothing will happen. You have to close the circuit that energy flows. The lower energy flow, the lower in micron, is where the life sits. Our body doesn't work on 10 kilowatt neurosystem. So the minimum energy circuit you produce to drain, the more materials on the basis of human body will produce the system. When you create high coverage, when you put a big engine, when you put a big motor, then you go into the heavy elements. This is how mutation of the elements will come. You haven't understood the principle yet, because you're looking at the chemical reaction, not at the GANS reaction. These systems, if you understand, can change a lot of things to the way you want. One of the problems the scientists have, this is hypocrisy, like that Stephen Hawking with the black hole, that in the supernova, when the star explodes, heavy elements are created. This is absolute, total nonsense. Elements are created, heavy, big packages of magnetic field plasmas are released, and according to the environment they are released, and under the speed they lose their magnetic field elements, They become the matter. Fusion, the way the people are looking for it, doesn't exist in the universe. So if you set the environment in your cups in a way to drain very heavy, you will create heavy elements. You want the lighter elements, you want the combination molecules of lighter elements, you set your reactors to absolute minimum. Even the LED is too much. You go to the drainage as a minimum. You go and measure the current flow through the neural system of the man.
So it's like an adjusting
Then
system.
you imitate it in your system. And then you get what you want in the protein. Do you understand?
Yes, I do. So it's the release of current is like an adjusting of the positioning in gravitational magnetic fields.
Yeah. But please redefine the current. The current in these systems in the body of a man is not in electron matter level. It is in it's in gravitational magnetic field level. That's why the minute you touch, you reach the brain. You don't wait. If you were supposed to work on your nerve system, was supposed to work on electron, by the time you touch the pan and or the fire and the information go by electronic to your brain and respond, come back, half of the arm is burnt.
Right. So
because the information, the knowledge, everything, the material are created in gravitational magnetic field level, not in electron. We have once the man understands the difference between the matter and the GANS, all these problems are solved. And that'll be very short term. In the next few weeks and months, people will understand very clearly the difference. And then we don't have these discussions.
Okay, so that's clear. We will wait for that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other
Thank
question?
you for that, Mr. Keshe. Because I recently seen a video in regards to the electron, and I thought it was kind of funny, but it makes a lot of sense in terms of the way you explained it there, which is that a snail moves faster than an electron when in the circuit, because the circuit themselves is matter. When matter moves, it creates the electric field, and that's what we're measuring.
Yes,
so
but the thing is, you still have a current,
themselves.
what is magnetic. Pardon?
Exactly, because the fields themselves is what we actually want to be able to use, and not the electron themselves.
But the field, again, I repeat, is gravitational magnetic field. What you get as energy in, like running the motors, as you saw, if you make a system, you can run a system parallel with your motor that it works on the gravitational field as much as the magnetic field, flow field. You can separate them. This I will teach in the reactors in the space technology very soon, because it's needed to know. It's very much what we call in the electric current and eddy current, or the backflow. Backflow, well, the forward flow, we call it electric current, which is the repulsion. That's why it moves away. And the other one, the opposite to it, is what you call gravitational pull. It's the same thing that a lot of people keep on telling me. Yes, eddy current is gravitational and electric current is magnetic pull, the push. The two balance each other. And the thing is, the same thing goes. You see, us as a human race have used different terminology for the same principle. A lot of people they say, if I'm Tesla, I work like Tesla. No, Tesla only worked with magnetic field. Professor Mine has come up with a new wording. He calls it, what do you call it? Scalar waves. Yeah. So Tesla speak about field which go, and he knows how to play and bring them or feather them. And Professor Miles speaks about gravitational pull, but is in fact one is talking about the other half, but they never understood it. And both things are clever. They are very clever. But now it's time to join everything and we understand the whole process. A scalar wave, eddy current, gravity is all the same. Magnetic field, electric current, and what do you call it? They're all magnetic field, which is repulsion, is all the same. It's the same principle with different names. So this is what I was talking to somebody some time ago. It's like, you know, when you live in Belgium have a very funny habit, or it is part of the culture. You can call your wife in the name of a man. Huh? I can call my wife in a man's name, and she will still respond because she's Catholic. She comes from a Catholic house. She has given her first name, which is a woman. She's given a second name, still a woman. Then she's given the name of the godmother, it's a woman. And in the same certificate, she's given the name of the godfather, so she has a man's name. And you have a total confused man in one certificate. This is like man's knowledge. Yeah? So I can call my wife with a man's name and they tell me I'm gay, but I still live with a woman. This is how we confuse ourselves with it. It's just, for me, it took about 20 years to understand how they don't use a man's name on a woman, but that's something comes to lack of intelligence. But understanding the culture, now I understand why. So this is, we do things in a funny ways, and we chose names over time in different sites. With this technology, we brought everything in one. We all speak about one thing: magnetical, which means repulsion of two similar poles. Gravitational means attraction of two dissimilar poles. So when we speak about magnetic, it's about fields of magnet. But when you speak about the plasma, we speak about magnetical, which means it's the repulsion field, and gravitational, which means the attraction field of between two fields. So this has sorted a lot of things. Something which I have explained this before, but maybe for those who are new to us. My first book is, I could not write about what I talk now because people would not understand. It would have been too much to swallow. So the first book is explaining the basics, but still using the old terminology. In the second book, which is the structure of the light, we speak about the interaction of the two, and we open the plasma with the new names. So the first book is a structure. The second book, the structure of the light, shows the transmutation and transportation of this thing called the plasma in the first book. The third book, which is the origin of the universe, shows the behavior of the plasma.
Sorry, Mr. Keshe, can you just pause there for a second, please? You're just starting to break up. We just want to make sure. Yeah, can you just start at what the second book explained, please?
Yeah, the second book is about transportation of the plasma, which is explained in the first book, because we put a correct foundation down. For me to come and speak about the principal matter and transition matter in the first book, it would have caused havoc. But I explained the structure of the plasma in the first book using the old language. Yeah, you have to speak to every man in his own language, otherwise he doesn't understand. Everybody knew was antimatter and what they call it, black matter and dark matter and the rest. So we spoke in that language. In the second book, we explain about transportation of this plasma. You call it the speed of light or light, because when it goes too fast, what it does, the plasma interacts with the magnetic gravitational field of its environment, so it creates a friction residual. You call it light. So the second book is about the transportation of the same plasma. The third book, the structure of the universe, is the explanation of the interior of this plasma, how it behaves. You call it the universe, how the galaxies are. You call it up quarks, down quarks, boson. So if you read the third book, you understand the internal structure, the behavior of the internal structure. And the fourth book will explain, which is written, I hope I can get hold of this guy called Geert Vranckx and sit him next to me for 2 weeks, that we can get this book painted and done, decorated and drawn as usual. Then you understand in that book how the solar system are done. Then the solar system is very much like an atom and structure molecule of the body of the man. Then you understand why, as I explained, different elements in the body move different way. Then you understand why you get diseases. And you can do the same thing to undo the disease yourself. And now with a medical pattern which has become public, you all can help yourself with all the diseases in the world. If you don't know, it's like, you're a very good mechanic, you're a very good cook in a way, but you don't have time to cook, so you go to a restaurant. Now doctors become restaurant. You want to pay a lot, you go to a very expensive French restaurant, you pay too much for a little on the plate. Or you go to an expert to cook you a very nice food and you pay a lot of money for it. Now, if you want the foundation to do your health section, you pay our rates, which is helping the others. So you don't pay for yourself, you pay for the others. If there is somebody who can do it cheaper, so go to them, because now it's free. You all have my knowledge. Those who want to do the medical, and I have a license from the Belgium, I have a document from the Belgium, I have to teach my technology. So I start teaching the medical. From now on, I fulfill my last part of my, in accepting my technology as an alternative technology as medicine or health or alternative health program, as they call it. It was, I had to teach. Now I start teaching not to one or two, but to thousands at the same time. So these are the things you got to understand. We needed the time to bring the technology across so many people across the world that we had the foundation for the change for world peace. And now we have it. Clear indication of this. If you look at the forum of the foundation, when we put rubbish topics or something which is not important, you get 200, 300, and it disappears. When you put something like the way the world pattern is, what we released on USP, you see millions of people. So we have a huge followers. They were just sitting on the wings to see if it's real or not. And now it's real because the government's got it and now it's catches out of the bag. So the knowledge is known by everybody. Now what we got to do, we got to open it up and teach you step by step. And to open what I've written in these patterns will take man thousands of years. Because when you go somewhere else, oh, this was in pattern, but we didn't see it this way. As I said to the knowledge seekers, if you go from a matter environment to a transition environment, magnetic field strength, you won't die. All it happens, your magraves of your plasma will be using that level in the strength of that environment. So if you go into a principal matter level, because every atom starts from the principal matter, that level will appear in respect to its environment. So the physical body of the man will never disappear as long as it's kept coherent as it is due to his own reasons and his magnetic gravitational field balance. And in so many ways, yesterday, as John was saying, that when we emptied from 4 of the containers in a box, we literally mixed 4 people together and we saw one thing. All rivers of magnetic field, channels of it. We see this video. I think Marko has managed to do a good job if he's done it. You don't see, you see a constant magnetic field channels. These are the channels which you like to call wormholes, but nobody understood it. I just looked at them and said, I hope these boys understand what they're looking at. Because once you get into these, what they call channels they've seen, as John said, these are magnetic wall channels. These are where there is a balance. That's why different magnetic field strength have made their own corners. And these channels in between is where they agree this is the balance of the fields. You get into these balance field channels, you can go. It's very, very clear. We tried to do a very good opening video of this one that you can see it. And then if you mix it, we empty it, we go back or we stir it, they build their own channels again. We brought the container from one side of the room to another. begin straight again to do it because the balancing at atomic nuclear GANS level is the same. And these, when you look at it, you learn more. These boys are too interested still in the physical matter. And in time when they learn about the magraphs and plasma, then you start seeing things the way I try to explain. But at the end of the day, everything is connected to the soul of the man. And I try in this table, we just come here and we teach you, we talk about the reactors for months with it. Then we talk about the plasma and this Coca-Cola bottles and energy. But all this very soon has to go with the teaching of the soul that fairness stays the same. Because if you're not fair in a space, you have no room to stay. They make sure, because there has been enough conflict in the past. Now is the end, because it takes a long time to establish peace, but holding it on, it means you have to protect it. It's like your home. Once you have a peaceful home, when the brother comes or your mother comes and starts stirring up, you keep the mother out. You say, Mom, we come to your house to meet you, not to come here. Because every time you come here, you stir a problem, but I have a happy house with my wife. This is the situation with the space with man. You're being kept out because you're animals. You behave like animals. You eat and kill each other. Now we're giving you everything. What's your excuse? When you behave, you're allowed in. And now we open the door. And this time we interfere, not you deciding. We don't need to reach you. We reach your souls and the body will change. As I said, with the same I did, nobody understood and I explained it so many times. I reached the soul of His Excellency President Obama, a man who issued the decree the second day after the peace conference, 6 months later asked for a key on the day of his election. The morning of his election, the man who's the most powerful man in the world, I don't think Keshe Foundation what is in his brain. He should not be existing. But his soul put him in there. I read the letter to Kerry Cassidy last week. At 3:40 on the 6th of November, American ambassador instructs the embassy to get contact. Can we have the USB stick? Now you're all American ambassadors. You all receive the USB stick. The knowledge in your computers, and as we said, because Armand was saying yesterday, I don't know if he did it or not, please download these papers, these pattern keys into remote USB sticks, that if your key gets attacked or anything goes, because what is on the plan, they're using what is known as anything which carries cache to be wiped out the internet. This is what the plan is going on. Our security people are watching, that there will be no sign of us. Download these into sticks and frequently upload it somewhere. They are trying to use the Marshall code, as we all know. Pick up the name and you can target it. The minute somebody speaks about John, it will be recorded. The same martial law has been put on for Keshe Foundation. The plan was to wipe us out totally. So if you have these things, keep it on 2 or 3 remote that you can share the knowledge with humanity for years and years to come. I warn people who were planning to bring our servers down to Keshe Foundation. Now we have tens of thousands of servers. You bring us out, we pop like puppies everywhere. It's been said, it's been done. You buy servers to bring us down. We buy servers to make sure our knowledge is shared. So you're wasting a lot of money. And the more you taught us what you're doing, the more we didn't come back and attack you. We just made sure we stay online. And one thing I tell those energy people says, free energy, no thank you. Yes, please. We've done our job. As I wrote on my forum, mission accomplished. And our American military people understand exactly what mission accomplished is. And if you don't know it, I'll tell you in 1 minute. When Eastern Bloc came down in 1990s, we had Frankfurt Airport, one side military, one side civilian. And when there was no more Eastern Bloc, no more enemy to fight, which is the situation now, the American military on top of the aircraft hangars on Frankfurt Airport wrote big signs. I know there is on the YouTube, you can find it. Mission accomplished. We got rid of communism. Now our mission is accomplished. We got rid of world war and hunger. So, message is very clear. We won. No time. Without a single bullet. While you were busy planning our destruction, we were busy to share and people got the message. Now we shared. I've put this message out in Kerry Cassidy's or with John Harrison's interview. We call upon world leaders for a meeting for world peace. You do not attend. We announce it this time. We have made a place and we have set the seats. Everything is ready for it. The way we did in Ninove in Belgium. Now we have it in Italy. You do not attend, you lose. American Embassy, 4:30 before the 6th of September World Peace Conference of Ambassadors in Ninove, called us and they said this time they will not come. Maybe they come the next time. Your card is up, Americans. You turn up and you make sure peace is on the agenda, nothing else. No bargaining chip, all equal. Next question. Are we offline?
No, you're online.
Any questions?
It was very comprehensive in your today's lecture. So people are speechless.
This is the beginning. Let me tell you something. It's been a lot of, I send the links to to the knowledge seekers, one or two of them in the past day or two. For a number of years, I have met with a lot of religious and government leaders and organizations, and we receive a lot of emails. The question has been, are you the Messiah? We are all Messiahs if we are just and correct and understand the process. And this is what has been lacking. The greed of matter has blinded us. We received something from Kabbalah yesterday, somebody coming with 9 reasons who I am. I received a very funny email from my dearest friend, Dirk Lorenz. In some Hindu books, they say, blah, blah, the world has been waiting for. The world today has been waiting for all of us on equal measure. It's just that we never accepted that we are equal. This is the problem. So, those who ask and write to us and they say we are Messiah, no, we are all Messiah. I just know the way. There are 2 ways. We follow the correct way, or at the same time, the one who knows the way can block the ones who go the wrong way and guide them to the right way. Time of Messiah, there is no more prophet because the man cannot be taught the same and the same. The only difference is how to wash your face and which way to pray. Now we take you to a space. There is no which way to pray but to your own soul and to your own creator, which is you within you. So, the ones who want to go to church to pray, let them go to church to pray because they still pray to themselves and to us. It's a very, very simple message. Messiah, yes I am, but at the same time, equal measure with all of us. Abundance and the promise is fulfilled. Now is your turn to see how open you are to your own souls to accept it and follow it. I want to know how many American or Japanese or Chinese, once you understand what it means and what's on the table, will stop making the bullets and the guns. And you know, if you're Americans and you want a peace process, go and buy a house next to a gun manufacturing company. There's a lot of carbon in the air, and that's a lot of food. And if you don't know it, the boys will show you. Because a gun has a gunpowder and is a carbon base, so it's free food. Leech on. Oh yeah, my wife says you can survive on the bullet. And actually, if you're very clever, you can make a lot of diamond rings too, because you can change the carbon now to diamond. We showed it how. I do apologize, but I kept my promise as I promised to the boys in the Diamond Bourse years ago. I will not release the diamond technology, but with this process, it's been released, and in so many ways, diamond has no value because everybody will start making diamonds. And you can see it on our videos. We used to have it on our website. We took it off with all the diamond testers. And everybody says, oh, this is blah, 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 because they never understood. But now the reality is very simple. You can have as much diamond as you like. And the reactors here will produce kilos of it very soon, because I know why. It's too many of us in the room, and we all breathe. And one of the first thing comes out of our mouth is carbon, CO2. And if we breathe too much in the room, you will see diamond structures falling all over the place. And I've seen it happening. I've seen it happening. They laugh, these boys laugh, because they know how many times I've surprised them up to now in past 4 weeks. That's another surprise. You make a reactor that rains water around it, because you create gravitational magnetic field of water, and whatever is in the moisture in the air will convert to it, or gets attracted to it. You extract moisture from the air and put that in Ethiopia. Boy, there'll be no one moving, immigrating, refugees, nowhere. You can water all the planets as much as you like, because the more you take out, the more space you make for the surface of the oceans to evaporate up. So all you do, you create a cycle. We show this and we teach this in very, very detail in the workshops. Please look at the pictures, not just as pictures, what has been loaded today by the knowledge seekers. Understand it, replicate it, and just don't look at the matter. Look at everything as a GANS. And then measure it. If you don't have a measuring tool, observe it. And please, my advice to all of you is, don't do the stupid things I do. After touching these waters, don't put your finger in it and in your mouth. Because you'll find out you absorb so much energy of different matters which you're not ready unless you understand what you're doing. Everything is not honey and, protein. Some of them are carbon, some of them is potassium, some of it is different material which is near enough and is absorbed by the layers. Let us do the job. Let us bring the 25 knowledge seekers and other world scientists who will start collaborating with us to explore and understand. Those who are worried for the new jobs, with this new technology, if you understand even 2 minutes of what is in one of the tapes released today, there is, I think, about 40,000 PhDs to be made. Just each cup you see in that half-broken bottles, that's about 50,000 PhDs just to understand one of them. And I think we have about 65 of them in the container, or 56 of them. So that's about 10-20 million PhDs, more than what's going to go to the new fusion reactor in south of France. I repeat again, Mr. Nelson at the Jet Propulsion NASA, be the link as you've been before to the American government and to the NASA administrator. We put the hand of collaboration to you, or very soon NASA will be a name on a board, used to be, the way was American Airlines. Lockerbie brought it down because of the stupidity of ignoring the fact there was a danger. NASA will become a name if internationally we do not collaborate. You have a lot of knowledge and we have a lot of respect for you. The same goes to Mr. Benhoff, Dallas Benhoff in Boeing, the link between Boeing and NASA and the American government. We've been a long-term friends. Open the doors and let's work together. We invite you to our center. They don't let us come to America to teach you. You come to our home. We teach you a bit openly. The same goes to my Russian colleagues in Moscow. I have learned a lot from you in past 20 years. When the Europeans won't teach us about the space technology, you open your doors to me. Now the door is open to you. I learned a lot in Kazakhstan from Russian space technology, the way the information was given to me to understand. And I thank you for it. I thank the officers KGB who provided me with the information. As a friend, not as somebody who was a rogue. The same goes to my dearest friends in Iran. You're welcome. I invite the Iranian head of a space agency and the university to our place, the way you invited me to Iran. Doesn't matter if you're American or Russian, black or white, you're welcome. We teach you very clearly and openly. And if it's too much, we send you the links, learn from us, and make it American or Chinese. You all end up the same way. My hand of friendship goes to our scientists in Tel Aviv. And the same goes to Ayatollah Khamenei of Tehran. Your Eminence, open the door, please. Any question?
Yes, we have a question from Elia. She's asking if you have a list of the countries in which Keshe Foundation has a local organization.
These are rogue organizations. You mean Keshe Foundation? These people, we didn't even know there is a Taiwanese. We did not know till this last week that the Taiwanese, we knew that in Taiwan there was an organization going, but it's two men who started it. It's the same with Mr. Chu in China.
I think that Elia is trying to say legitimate Keshe Foundations.
You're all legitimate. Unless you lot are legitimate. Legitimation comes in application of the technology and working with it and understanding it. The Keshe Foundation does not need office, name, and organization.
No, I think that her question is if you have local presence in different countries.
We have local presence in every nation on this planet. Because there is somebody who understands and using the technology. You want to put name and registration number on it, then they become crucified and sacrificed. There is no more need for that. There is enough. I know, I was very surprised that one of our knowledge seekers we are still waiting for is from Cameroon. Who thought there would be guys in Cameroon who understand this technology? Because it's so simple. We have people from all over the world. There are scientists in... yesterday, I had a call. We have a beautiful guy in Sweden who's working very hard for putting Keshe Foundation and everything too. And yesterday, he managed to make time that I spoke with a very well-known professor in Sweden who is coming to us next week, if his wife permits or when they find time, because he's a medical man, and he says through what he's seen here, because he works in the field and they have God knows whatever things, that the work in medical section in ILS and MS is very correct, or he has opportunity to. Now he wants to be able to do like a huge trials around, because ILS is very big in Northern Europe. And there is no solution for it. And they've seen how we treated our volunteers. It's not treated, it's processed in a way. And they can see it is impossible to be done with other things. In the next few days, I told the knowledge seekers yesterday that he'll be here with his wife. Because scientists understand what's going on. Now we explain we are out of the shackles of our bondage, which was for years. And in a way, it was good because he allowed us to mature. The time we spent our exiles or imprisonment in Belgium was fantastic for us. As I always say with my wife, I would have never written the books. In that prison, that confinement, we had nothing else to do but write and develop and teach. And now we are out, it's open. So we don't need a Keshe Foundation anywhere. Keshe Foundation is in your heart. If you understood the pattern, actually I can say there are about 40 million plus Keshe Foundations since last week because they downloaded the patent, the key, USB stick. So even if you go nobody, we have a 30,000 download on Keshe Foundation forum. They're not all American or Chinese or whatever. Divided by 100 or 200 nations and territories and islands around the world, and go by whatever ratio you go, at least 1, 2, or 10 people have in each nation have read it. So Keshe Foundation is everywhere. You don't need to put legitimation to it. I understand what Elia is asking you, and I was discussing this yesterday here in the institute. Elia was the founder of the Keshe Foundation in Bulgaria. And she was the initiator. She should have been the founder. I'm prepared to give the Keshe Foundation seat as a founder to you. You do not need to have a seat to confirm in what you believe. As I said to the knowledge seekers, Elia will be around this institute next time round in the 25, and I'm negotiating for the finances for her because I know her. She's a key. She's a jewel in the crown of the Keshe Foundations around the world. So don't try to establish a Keshe Foundation. Make a Keshe Foundation the way of living and the way you live at home. With your wife, you have peace. With your child, you have peace, and then the whole thing goes. I get very angry, and my wife says, "Oh, you get angry all the time," because I get angry of the stupidity of the man, how much they can harm each other. Otherwise, people like Elia, if people understand what this woman carries, then you don't need to look to have a foundation to be the founder. You found the truth in your heart and you achieved it, and I respect you for it, Elia. Next question.
Dr. Keshe, this is Brett. About the energy pyramids we discussed last time, I can confirm that the emotional mind does manipulate the energy. And I also wanted to talk to you in the future about using GANS materials of different GANS and different layering to build the skin of the craft for the reactors to give it a body.
You can make a body of a craft out of the straw, because it's not the body of the craft, it's the field which carries.
But if you make it out of the GANS and different layering, you can give it the ability to change.
Out of what?
Alter itself. GANS layering. Different GANS and different layerings.
It doesn't matter. If you make, it depends what, I will teach you how to run reactors with liquid, with total gas liquid.
You know,
when you have the gas liquid, you can do anything with it. Can you repeat that?
I'll talk to you about it. I'll talk to you about it on Skype another time. I don't think you'll understand what I'm trying to say. Maybe it's too far advanced for people to understand right now. It's where you can communicate with the craft, the skin, the GANS material.
You're getting broken up. Can you, if you don't shout, go back a little bit from your microphone and talk slower. Maybe we understand. You're missing some words in here. Repeat yourself.
Through the emotional mind, you can communicate with the reactors and the GANS material. If you build the craft out of the GANS material in different layerings of different GANS strengths, you can give it a physical body, and it can physically change itself when you want it to, and you communicate with it through the emotional mind.
We have a problem understanding this question, Rick. Can you write it down, please?
I think what he's saying is about building the craft out of GANS material, having it more of a organic sort of quality to it than solid, and that it would be able to
communicate with your mind.
Say what?
You can control the reactors as a plasma. You don't need to build it from the GANS. I think it sounds to me you haven't understood the whole concept properly. It's good the way you're going, but expand it a little bit more. You find out we try to put it. It's actually in one of the patterns. I'm sure it is. Dirk and I we written it down as part of OASIS pattern. You can the OASIS system, which you have. What is called OASIS? OASIS, suppose if you look at it, is we used to be, I don't know if it's still there, is a tent with people underneath of it. Nobody understood what this means. This means if you are, let's say we are in an earthquake position in North Pakistan, which happened a few years ago, in the winter time. It's no use me coming and giving you an OASIS system, which gives you energy, and it gives you water, and it gives you heat or light, without giving you a shelter. People never understood this. You can adjust this OASIS system to create you a magnetic field shelter. So you do not need to have food and be warm, but you're bringing a stone on top of you because there is no roofing. The OASIS system is a complete system, and Dr. Iman is working on the original OASIS system that was given to him yesterday. I will show it. To create a gravitational magnetic field, which can create a soft magnetic field shielding, very, very soft. That it can stop the wind and the cold and the rain, because it becomes like a pot on top of you. This is what you're going to do in space. In space, you don't take a tent and put it on the moon. And you don't go in a box hiding like a sardine the way they do it. Yeah, they laugh. Now you have the capability to extend your gravitational magnetic field with the strength within your reactor. You want it 10 meter, you want it 20 meter, your craft is 100 meter, or you land with a 10 meter diameter or 20 meter diameter, but you want to explore the ground. You don't put a snowman suit the way they do nowadays and jump like a rabbit on the moon. You walk out, you expand. They're laughing. They soon will do it. When they do it, they understand it. I call it the tickle factor. When these magnetic fields pass your body, you bend in because it's a field. You feel it and you bend into it. I call it the tickle factor. You understand soon what tickle factor is. So you extend your boundaries of your OASIS system enough that you can have a shelter till the physical shelter you're used to is built. The only problem is you make it a bit stronger, otherwise everybody sees what you're doing inside. So you cover yourself with just little bit of a strength. When I did it the first time, it was laughable, but it's gorgeous when you receive it. The people don't understand, and I thank the Iranian government, the freedom they gave me in research, and they never monitored me. They watch what I'm doing, but I reported what I'm doing. But in testing, we saw a lot of beauties of God. And you all see that in next 2-3 weeks, when the broken reactor of John goes on the table and the half-cooked reactor of Marko, which is brought from Slovenia, is on the table, we're trying to adjust it. And actually, I try to do things the funny way. Yesterday, I went and I bought the flat board, or in plastic now, you use for flattening or rubbing a plaster on the wall, on the bricks, for Dr. Iwan to put his reactor on as a base. You can buy anything. If you understand how technology works, you don't need a multi-million organization. I think you people, we're going to have a laughing of the time when these reactors all dance and jump and do nothing. To you, they do nothing. It's just like the way it happened here 2 days ago. 2 days ago, when you see the video of the yellow, orange, and pink color battery, they were so all excited. Now they're going to see a movement, energy, a light. And because the way they nano-coated their material, it wouldn't work. But I'm there, I watch, I know what's going on, but it's not my job to interfere because they have to make their own mistakes. So I knew it's not going to be much, and I could see things. I tried to do things, and John did all his praying, and the other one went there, and the whole team, like a broken army, one by one disappeared out of the lab. As you know, it was a big failure. But the next day, when they saw what they produced, they start slowly believing in themselves that things happening. You don't have to look for physical things immediately. So the Oasis system has a lot of more other applications which we can show people when it's going to be done. I reckon the Oasis system should cost about $25 to be given by people like Red Cross in time of disaster. That immediate shelter, immediate water from the moisture of the environment, and a small amount of heat, and enough energy for cooking is available. And even there is a shortage of food, you cannot get to these people. We can write a program in a very simple, in a small microchip, that exactly what we're doing now in past 10 years in the medical system, now you got the patterns, that what you call a gravitational magnetic field of like proteins or vitamins are created within the moisture of the water you absorb from the environment. So the water you drink becomes your energy or food supply, at least for the short term or the long term. This is how we're going to feed people in space. Energy absorption and conversion to food, or energy absorption directly through the drink to the body or in the environment. The game has changed. I feel sorry for those who planned for years to be the masters of this planet. You become servants to his people. Next question.
Yes, we have another question. As we have a dentist gentleman into the team, could this technology be used to treat cavities, you know, dental, without drills and stuff like that, as is done today?
I don't know how much you know about the background with Dr. Iwan, because his office's surgery is where the Keshe Foundation Center was, so we always chit-chat here and there whenever we met. Everything is possible. Even yesterday we were talking about the plasma, or this week. You can grow bones in the tooth, or you can do all sorts of things with it. Why do you need a cavity if you can actually produce the right thing exactly the same as what your tooth is? There's a lot of possibilities, but we leave it to the others to open it up. The way, if it's too far-fetched, go back on the documents of the Keshe Foundation. Nobody has ever understood this. What's his name? The magazine which is that 18-page article on Keshe Foundation. The Frontier. Go back on the Frontier magazine of 2-3 years ago. On their 100th edition, there is about 14-16-page article about the Keshe Foundation. And one of the pages they have is the amputated toe. It's two small pictures, just people look at the cut and then look at the toe. If we could allow the brain to develop and grow a toe, which is a bone, muscle tissue, blood vessels, and everything else, so we have enough knowledge to do it, but at the same time, it has to be separated. You don't want a meat in front of you, in the middle of your tooth. This information has to be siphoned, and that's why we started, say, the 25 knowledge seekers and the 250 for September. To put this in a data form, because we are a bunch of data illiterate, except one of us, I think, is Marek. Everything else, to me, a computer is a foreign object. So the new scientists will put data and things that can be replicated. Yes, it's possible to do any kind of thing, grow bones, take bones out, replace. At the moment, we are running a trial, as I don't know, I've told you or not. The gentleman is a dentist, doctor. His son is a doctor, not becoming doctor. And he's had a brain cancer tumor due to mobile phone. The tumor was taken out about 12 months ago or plus, and he was on the 12-month chemotherapy. And son, being a medical guy, he's met me in a conference somewhere in Germany 2 or 3 years ago. He said if he can help my dad. So we could see how the figures were going the wrong way with the chemotherapy, and he was told he's got 18 months maximum. We started in November. I showed the data and the things to Dr. Iwan, and all the figures in 3 months have come back to normal. If I give his blood test to you, you can't even say the guy had a cancer or chemotherapy or anything else. And this case is getting monitored by about 4 doctors in Germany and other places to monitor how chemotherapy and the cancer can be averted, or at least after chemotherapy to be allowed bone marrow to grow or become to the strength that can protect the body. So everything is possible. We accepted a new case that the cancer is done today in Switzerland. And the system is the first time we had a pre-notice. So the system was handed over on Monday, and they came to pick it up. So it's an eye cancer. The eye has been taken out. The tumor is 3 centimeters above the eye. And the guy is what do you call it? Keshe Foundation supporter has been. And he said, I'm going to lose the eye, but I want you to do the rest of it, see if we can stop the cancer spreading. So we have the knowledge and system coming. It's the first time we've been given an opportunity to come in simultaneously after the operation. So the system gets used this week, we understand, and we see it. We'll see what happens. And the knowledge I give you is not secret anymore. The health pattern is in the package, read it. But understand it, because if you use it the wrong way, your sweetie becomes your poison. We wind it up. We meet next Thursday. If we can do the workshop with Yukoko while she's in Japan and they're doing they've done the experiment. And then the result will be repeated by the major, government nuclear center. Exactly, we're running a parallel test as Fukushima with this nuclear center. I received the specification. It's very much similar to contamination in Fukushima, because these contaminations are all over the world at the moment, but nobody speaks to it because there is no solution. Once the solution is open, hopefully next week or next couple of months with us in trial and error, then we understand how much we had problems, which was checked. But it's the responsibility of the Keshe Foundation around the world to be the solution and not a problem. Then we run the program with Yukoko on Friday, live. Rick, Yukoko will send you the time and we all stay live online with it. Okay, thank you very much for all your time, all of you. And please use the USB stick, use this USB stick knowledge for peace, because we had enough war, we lost enough.
So, Mr. Keshe, so final information for you, Vincent, and we did a torrent thing, and we monitorized the spreading in a peer-to-peer network. We had countries from all over the world: Russia, Brazil, Portugal, Germany, France. So additional to your servers, I think we had about 300 people seeding all these files, so they are propagating properly. And
so in the 300 servers, there are 300 servers, you mean?
Yes, 300 exactly.
Yes.
And growing.
Yes, we had 300 seeders at a time over the last couple of days, and it hasn't gone down. So that's I've always seen people requesting it from all over the world. So it has gone out in addition to the links that you got, I do believe.
That's perfect. Thank you very much for all your support, Dave. Diva, Rick, and the rest, and the knowledge seekers, and the ones who are behind the scene do a lot of work. The position with the foundation is that we are here to set up the process and enforce the process of equality and world peace. The reason is not for this, that we'll have peace on this planet, is to teach that we cannot think of damaging or harming no one, that in turn when we go into space in the next few months and weeks or whatever, we don't do the wrong thing to be in the wrong environment to damage ourselves. The people will start understanding the purpose of this program, this teaching. It is not the same as our medical system. They say, oh, he's got a cure for cancer or he's got a cure for ALS. No, we are testing for in a space we don't need to come back to Earth every time somebody is sick. So in the same way, we are trying to open the door into the universal community, but you have to be taught the manners of it. And we're trying to teach them, and it's got a very simple manner, and that is peace. When you're at peace, you don't make a wrong mistake thinking about damaging someone or stealing something. And these universal communities are open, the same as you right to run your reactors with your thoughts. They have access to your thoughts before you even think about it, through the same purity of their emotion. So we got to learn this very quickly before we go to space. And as long as I'm here, I make sure no craft is taken off unless the inhabitants or the people who are going understand this principle. Because there's no use taking you out when I know 100% you're going to kill yourself. Learn the language of peace, think peaceful, and think correct, then you open the space of the universe very easily. Because if you don't learn it, you can put the others in danger. I was teaching the knowledge seekers. We have a very stupid class system here. We have no blackboards. And this week we had our lessons by a very ugly place called by the Lake Lagada, which is one of the most beautiful parts of the world. So we were sitting in a cafe and learning, and I explained to them the way you control mind, in the way the crafts will be built. As you enter, the way you get hygienic, or you can kill the germs as you go through like a microwave tunnel. We can take the part in the brain of the man which causes the wrong, the aggression and war. It's very, very easy, because it's a special part of your brain which causes these things. And we know how to reach it. So we solve the problem if you don't solve it yourself. There is a lot to teach. Let's get time to teach than actually arguing and fighting with all this arrogance of these world leaders who think they are the gods and they can control things. They lost control. The human race has won the game, and as I say, I don't feel sorry for what I've released. I feel sorry for man who has suffered so long for nothing. Thank you very much.
Mr. Keshe,
Thank
I
you.
would like
Thank
to
you, Mr.
say big thank you from Elia. She is not able to speak, but she is saying big thank you.
What's wrong with her? Has the cat eaten her tongue?
No,
She's on
she's
Livestream.
having a repair in her house and machines are working. It's gonna be a disaster with the microphones. So she cannot talk over the mic.
Today is the beginning or the last end of the day of the old year, and New Year tonight we celebrate at 8:27 Tehran time, the Iranian New Year, and we have a huge number of listeners in Tehran. I know it because of through our servers. I greet you, and I hope it will be a good New Year.
Good luck in the new year.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you next Thursday.
Yes, thank you very much.
We will not open the forum till we see the downloads around the world. We'll keep the servers running. We will not open the forum because there are too many comments we are watching in the background, which are very nice, but will distract the whole thing from what it is. So our webmasters in Tehran have locked the forum. I can access it. If there is something important, we announce it. But the server stays in that position on the forum till we are happy to move. There is something I have to make an announcement, couple of announcements. The Keshe Foundation will make, with all the members of the, the knowledge seekers, we will appear or will make a presentation on 21st, 22nd of June in Sardinia in Italy. It's the only presentation we'll give this year, but it'll be the first time the knowledge seekers as a whole will be present and will talk in lecture and subsequent programs. Tuscania, yeah. We will announce that on the forum. There is only about 700 seats or plus available, and that'll be the situation at the moment. Because it's in June 21st, 22nd. The program will be announced on the Foundation forum. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for
Bye-bye.
everything.
Bye-bye.
That completes the third Knowledge Seekers Workshop. Many thanks to Mr. Keshe and the Knowledge Seekers of the Spaceship Institute, and thanks to all of you for attending.